G'day folks, Uncle Knackers here. Guess what? I'm pretty excited but also a little daunted as I'm just about to attempt to convert a van into a camper van with my 25-year-old son Jack. I've never done this type of thing before, so fingers crossed everything goes well. But seriously, what could possibly go wrong? Alrighty, let's get this show on the road. So this is the set of wheels that we're working with. It's a Hyundai I-Load, which Jack bought for about 15 grand, which is a pretty good deal. So let's swing open these barn doors and have a look inside. What do we got, Jack?
We've got a very basic setup.
Yep.
We've got the mattress on the floor.
Yep, good.
Your surfboard on the side.
Yep, love it.
Your cooktop just floating around, your esky at the end.
Yep.
Camp chair and a little light.
So a pretty basic setup.
Very basic. When you're driving, things fly everywhere. It's very annoying.
So what's our plan of attack?
We need something which is practical, secure, so everything doesn't move around. You don't want your surfboards banging around because that's going to break them. Yep. We want something comfortable, and this van definitely gives you enough space to do so.
Sweet as, let's get stuck into it.
Sounds good. So the plan of attack is to get a spot where you can put your surfboard securely. We're going to put a sort of cabinet here to store your computers, your iPads, etc. A fold out bed that you can pull in and out with a sort of sofa up here. So the plan with the front is we're going to have a cabinet here with a pull out kitchen.
Yep.
Then we're going to have a fridge set up over there, one you can open up from the top.
Yep.
There's going to be a little spot for all the batteries, the electricals and stuff, and if we're lucky, a bit more storage. So, see how we go.
Cool. Now with the I-Load, and I suppose any van for that matter, space is at a premium. So you really need to be mindful of the real estate that you have at your disposal and then try and squeeze every inch that you can out of the space that you have. Now look, Jack is a pretty big unit. He's about 6'3" and roughly 2 axe handles across the shoulders. So the height of the van from the floor to the ceiling as well as the width is quite limiting, as is the length of the van, as we need to be able to fit in a bed that Jack can actually sleep on comfortably. And then, just to add one more layer of spatial complexity, as Jack mentioned earlier, he wants to store his surfboards inside the van when he's travelling and at night to help reduce the risk of his boards being stolen. This is going to be a challenge. Oh yeah, did I mention that Jack, my helper, actually lives 3 hours away up on the Gold Coast. Now here's a really useful tip. We are going to be putting down a plywood floor, which can be a real pain as you need to be able to cut around curves, wheel arches, doorways, etc, etc. So what you can do is when we pull up this plastic layer here, don't turf it out, because this plastic layer already has the curves, wheel arches, doorways, etc. cut into it. So we're going to be using that as a template to mark out the plywood. See? Not as dumb as I look. Oi! Now one very important thing you need to be wary of with the I-Load is that this black cover plate on the floor covers the fuel lines and the electricals for the fuel tank. So when you're putting down your floor or your cabinetry, just make sure you've got some sort of cover that you can remove just in case you need to access these things later down the track. So the first thing we need to do, I need to do, is strip the inside of the van. That way we can see what we're dealing with, which involves pulling up the floor covering and removing the side panels. That way we can then install some of those sound deadening sheets and also insulate the van from the hot and cold. Now just like pulling up the cushions on an old sofa, I was actually hoping to find some hidden treasures under that black mat, but just my luck, nothing. Not even a 5-cent coin. Very disappointing. What I did find though was a very dirty floor that needed to be swept up vacuumed and then thoroughly washed down with some sugar soap on a 35-degree day. Seriously, I'm too old for this caper. Whew. Where's Jack when you need him? Sadie, the cleaning lady. There you go. That's looking pretty good. Poor old knees. Flooring and insulation. Cool. Now with your insulation, just bear in mind that we are in Australia, so we don't get the extremes of cold like you do over in places like North America and the UK. So your insulation requirements for over in those places will be more heavy duty. It's basically the same process, but with a higher rated insulation. Now the first thing we need to do is to get the floor sorted, which involves cutting down some 70 by 35mm pine studs into thin strips that are basically the same height as the ribs on the floor, which are glued down rather than screwed down. Now mental note, I try at all times to avoid drilling into the outside skin of the vehicle, as that will only encourage rust and you don't want that. Once glued, the floor battens need to be held down tight to the floor till that glue dries, which is usually a 24-hour process. Just cut some thin strips of old scrap wood and lightly jam them up to the ceiling wherever you find a roof mullion. So that's the floor battens all done, and as you can see, it's nice and flat with no lumps and bumps, which is good. The glue's been down for 24 hours, so that should be dry. So let's take off these braces and then move on to the next step of installing the floor insulation. Hey, since we're talking about vans and stuff, how's this? A couple of days ago I saw Vincent Van Gogh sitting in a pub, and I said, "Hey Vince, would you like a beer, mate?" And he said, "No thanks, I've got one here." I'm here all week, folks. Try the veal. Now I've got to say, the glue that I used, which is a multi-purpose adhesive and joint sealant, did the job perfectly. It has awesome holding abilities as well as a little bit of give, which is the perfect combination as your van is bashing and crashing as it's being driven down the road. Now when it comes time to actually sticking the insulation down to the floor of the van, all I'm using is this can of spray-on contact adhesive. All you do is spray both surfaces, wait till it's almost dry, kind of tacky, and then boom, you're good to go. See? That's too easy. I should also mention that this project has been classified by Jack as budget friendly. Keep it simple, Dad, and don't blow the budget. Roger that, mate, and let's crack on with cutting out that flooring using the black plastic as a template. Now just a quick side note, if you find yourself a little intimidated by using power tools, I have links to how-to videos and a course down below which you will find very useful. Alrighty, let's give this a test. Fingers crossed, folks. Beautiful. Alrighty, next sheet. Now as you can see, that floor is as flat as a tack, which is absolutely fantastic. And with that done, we can then shoot upstairs and concentrate on installing those ceiling battens. Now with these ceiling battens, all I'm going to do is glue these directly to these ribs. I think they're called ribs that run across the ceiling. Now I don't want to screw this directly into those ribs just in case I accidentally penetrate the roof, which Jack would absolutely. Now you'll also notice that along the length of these battens, I've cut a series of slots or grooves, which makes the batten very flexible, which takes the pressure off the glue and also makes these easier to fit against the curve of the roof. Hey, check this out. It looks like I've cultivated a healthy thicket of bamboo. Seems to grow well on plywood. Who would have thought? Now look, just between you and me, these ceiling battens aren't going anywhere in a hurry. And if we run our straight edge across the top, they all line up beautifully. So with all that done, I think we're ready to move on to the next step, which is going to be the wall and ceiling insulation as well as the wall framing. But I think I'll tackle that in the next video, so I hope to see you there. Now, by the way, two quick things. It's currently the 9th of March 2024, so that video should be out within the next week or two, barring any major incidents. And number two is that I'll be doing a complete cost breakdown of the entire project once it's all finished, which may be handy for any of you out there who may be contemplating a project similar to this one. So make sure you stick around for that. Alrighty, after all that, I think I need a cup of tea. So till next time, be good, be safe, and I'm out of here. Cheers.